Hey, I'm Flarebear. This is my submission for a Hat in Time Any Percent for AGDQ 2020. It was last ran at SGDQ 2018, where I ran the base game Any Percent run, and since then the estimate has gone down by a full 10 minutes to when it was last submitted. That's mainly because of the fact it's received pretty much weekly patches and of 2 full-blown content updates. So not only is there a brand new chapter to make the run faster, but also there are a bunch of new glitches and things that just generally work different from before, whether it may be slightly faster or slower. So the run is pretty much a completely different experience from it used to be. And without further ado, let me get started. I have a RTA timer at the bottom right for estimate purposes. 3, 2, 1, go. So just a thing I need to get out of the way, and this is just a nuance about my own computer, it won't matter for an actual marathon run, but I avoid talking during loading screens because it generally just makes my mic cut out. My PC is bad, and so there are spots where I lag running this game. Loading screens is one of them. And that also means that loading times are going to be way worse for me than other people, which is good because we have an in-game timer. See, like, that loading screen is, like, way longer than it normally would be. Anyway, starting off with the basics, this level is the same as it's always been, but at the start of this game, we want to start off collecting a bunch of yarn, because that gives us hats, which are what lock our abilities, the different things that we use throughout the run. Fortunately, the sprint hat is the cheapest and the most useful. It unlocks a bunch of different movement exploits for us to use, as well as just, you know, holding a button to run like twice as fast. That's pretty useful. And this is the first instance of one of the new glitches that this run sees. So there's this taunt wheel, one of the taunts being this little boop animation, where she sticks her finger up in the air. This animation is completely bugged, and at the end of it, Hat Kid loses collision. And that can be used to interrupt other animations, like the one we did there. Or it can be used to knock yourself out of cutscenes. There is a skip we do later that abuses that. And you can also use it to do something like store a ledge grab state. But there's a lot of different uses for it that all save a decent amount of time. So that's one of the first instances of one of the sprint hat exploits. If you sprint jump right off of a ledge due to coyote frames, if you jump right after again, you can get a second jump off the ledge. And that's called a double sprint jump, or a DSJ. And it lets you get a lot more height with your jump and reach some higher places. There's a lot of yarn that we get in this level. Can you grab that? I can't believe I went through that. That's all the yarn we need for that level. Can I do menuing right? Thank you. How many hats do you need to make for the full run? We make sprint hat, brewing hat, the ice hat, and then the dweller hat at the very end. So, in Mafia Town, something that's important to note, hats kind of have like a general unlock order. So like if you want to get an ice yarn to make the ice hat, you can't really find ice yarn in Mafia Town. The only ones that exist are ones that kind of tease you, or like they're locked behind an ice platform. So you need to like get an ice hat from later and then come back and get those if you want. But because we have this new boop glitch that I talked about, we can lose collision. There is a way to cheese that, and that's what we're going to be doing right after this. And that's part of a route called Ice Hat Early. So right now, I'm going to be re-entering the level one more time really quick. Get one more yarn over here. And this is one of the ice yarn I was talking about. And this is how you can get in. So if you use a boop while on a ledge, you lose collision but keep your ledge grab. And that results in Hat Kid starting to fall down, but still having that ledge grab state, which means if you press jump and hold forward, she will vault forward like she's vaulting over a ledge, but instead will vault through a wall, and that can be used to clip in many places throughout the game. So this is the second hat we made in that previous level. This is the brewer hat. It's pretty simple and it's not used all that often, but it just gives us projectiles, which are generally faster anytime we're doing combat, which is not all that often.
Stand still. Heads up, little punk.
Yeah, this is another meme part of the run. Can you stop hitting me so I can dance? This dance is a huge meme, so I'd definitely be doing this for 45 seconds during auto-scroller. As well as, you know, having donations read, which is, I'm pretty sure what happened last time this game was at GDQ. But it's kind of self-explanatory. You just kind of sit here and dance. Because what else are you gonna do? So that level had a little cutscene out of it that I had to return a hub from. Because obviously you don't want to watch it. This game does have a built-in cutscene skipper, but it doesn't apply to everything. There are some, quote, unskippable cutscenes, and by unskippable I mean you have to pause and return to hub manually. So here's another weird boop usage. This works. Okay, it didn't work. If you boop early enough into that cannon, you can keep a ledge grab state while you fly up its trajectory, and then use the ledge grab to stop your momentum early and then land a little bit earlier. Seems like half a second, so I bothered, why not go for it. This level has some weird stuff in it, though. Mainly the boss fight, which is a dumb RNG level. Something about this route compared to before that's kind of subtle. You don't really need to worry about pawns, which is something that up until this route of the game, pawns actually kind of mattered a bit. And you would generally tend to grab ones that were kind of in your way. And so it's kind of hard to fight off muscle memory of grabbing pawns. We actually just don't need them at all in this category. So this is a little fight skip that you can do by climbing in between the two walls there and getting up top. All that happens is that you use that height to go over a fight trigger, which saves like 5 or 6 seconds. So yeah, this is the RNG part. This attack just stalls the fight for 6 seconds when he does it, and he can either do it 2, 3, or 4 times. The most common is 3, which is average RNG, which is nice, I guess. At least you don't get unlucky the majority of the time. And now I'm making the ice hat. Actually, I have decent RNG so far. Yeah, that's why I went ahead and got that ice yarn early with the boop clip. There's a trick coming up here, the Mafia boss quick kill. It was featured at last SGDQ, but it's much more difficult now. I got best RNG. So, I'm gonna go into the corner when he does this attack, and when he tries to swipe me away, I'm gonna use the ice hat to lock myself in place right on top of him, which causes his trajectory to mess up when he tries to jump on top of that Mafia ball, and instead he goes into the crowd and dies. So now, after that boss fight, we're going to be going straight to Chapter 2. Here's another little usage of Boop here. I can start walking down the hallway while the cutscene is still playing to get a little bit of a head start. We use that each time we do one of those telescope cutscenes. It's weird though, because Hat Kid's controls reverse based on what way the cutscene faces, so you have to kind of know which way to run. Like there, you have to hold down right, just because the camera's facing backwards. Oh, whoops. This level's really intense, and it also has a really cool usage for the ice hat in it. So as you saw, the ice hat is a little bit of a ground pound. If we use that on a slanted surface and then jump out of it, we can get a huge slingshot boost, like this, and just skip over that whole gap. It's really sick. Make sure not to get hit by that penguin. You can barely notice that this is a stealth level anymore. Yeah, that was decent. Get stuck on the floor. Oh yeah, something I just have set up as a joke right now, but could maybe be used for other purposes. I use both keyboard and mouse and controller for this game, and you can rename in the .ini files what the inputs are actually called. So last time I just used them to shout out the Discord and to shout out GDQ, but you can use them for whatever. So this level here is pretty much one of the only non-combat uses for the brewer hat, the potion throwing thing. It's pretty cool. So in this level, you have to interact with a bunch of different things, like taking pictures or talking to fans, to raise up your score counter at the bottom. To go fast in this level, you want to fill it up as fast as possible. An important thing to note, though, is that while the timer, or the score counter, takes time to tick up, you can get like a streak of points instead of having to wait. So if we hurry really quickly from this picture guy to the next endorsement guy, throw a potion, activate the endorsement, which now puts a dog on top of that tower. The cutscene unfreezes, and then the potion that I threw before the cutscene started immediately hits the dog and activates the endorsement, which makes the counter go up really fast and prevents me from having to wait for it to tick up to the top score. A rare sticker has appeared somewhere. I don't think I'll go find that. I'm doing a speedrun. So this is the first time rift of the run. Generally, they're located in secret locations around the map, kind of like Super Mario Sunshine secrets. But there are two of them that are hidden in the spaceship hub. This being one of them. It's got some nice movement in here. The DSJ I explained earlier, the double sprint jump, lets you scale up that wall without having to go around. It's a nice skip. You can use the brewer to blow up those boxes, or you can just go around them. Balloons are also pretty useful. Yeah, the reason you go fast with balloons is because you can dive boost into them, which is like your best source of speed. And balloons not only keep your speed that you have, but they also let you double jump again, so it's really good. I used that a bit in DBS as well, Deadbird Studio, the first level of this chapter, if you didn't notice. They're pretty cool. So, the little house Roomba here has a yarn in it. We generally get it after that level, because we have to walk across the whole spaceship to go to this chapter. So it means it's the least likely time where he's going to be somewhere you can't find him. Okay, this level has a really cool boop usage in it. So like I said about getting out of cutscenes, this is an infamous trick from the last GDQ run called bag skip. There's a way easier way of skipping this bag cutscene now. So, we intentionally get bagged and boop before we fall into it, which causes us to lose collision and fall out. Now, the problem is, in some amount of seconds, I don't remember how exactly long it is, it's going to put me into a cutscene where Snatcher drops me out of the bag and interrogates me. There's another cutscene trigger a few seconds ahead of me, and if I carry this painting up to it with good movement, I can make it there before the original one activates, successfully overlapping them. So this is the cutscene. The other one just started playing, but now I don't have to watch it because they overlapped. And that's bag skip. The new way of doing it. Yo, thanks for the sub, Kuko. Now the rest is just throwing paintings. This is a level that I play on keyboard, because it makes me easier to aim some of those throws. And now I'm setting up for an intentional death abuse strat at the end here. I've made sure to leave myself at 1 HP before reaching the end of the level, and brought that cherry with me, that's why. Those cherries turn into little bombs when you light them with the Dweller spirits that you can see around this level. And basically, I'm gonna skip a trip of going back to the spaceship and re-entering, because you have to do that every time you beat a level, by dying and having my corpse fly into the timepiece from this bomb. Like so. And so now I'm dead. I still collect the timepiece, but I respawn back in the level. Which means I can immediately go on to this next level. And this is sort of a free roam world. The other levels in it can be accessed from any act. So it's actually not necessary that I go back to the spaceship and unlock those other acts. So now I'm doing Subcon well. Can you go in? Thank you. Thank you! So, dive, when put against weird slopes that you don't bonk into, can give you a ton of speed like that. Slopes like that are too slippery for a Hat Kid to, like, walk on if she touches them. She just, like, slips and falls down. But just because of the way that one is angled, it sends you straight up against that tree, which is really useful. So that chest just gave us the hook shot, which is pretty useful. Not only is it fast, but there's a lot of levels where it's literally required to beat the game, so I think it's important we get that out of the way. Now we can just completely, not really sequence break, but I don't think this way of clearing the top of this room was exactly intended. Go in! Thank you. I'm mashing jump and dive here because you can actually move during this timepiece animation for some reason, and on the loading screen. And get a little bit more distance forward. You saw I was in the air whenever I actually gained control of my character already. So now we're into a little bit more chill levels. Next up is mail delivery service, which most people play on mouse and keyboard because it involves aiming and shooting mail packages at residents of the Subcon Forest, which is way faster and way more comfortable to do on a mouse rather than on a joystick. Yeah, while this is going on, this could be a donation level for sure. We do get a contract here because that's one level that we need to access later. That's pretty much the only level where we have to actually do that, though. The only thing to note in this level is that this shot right here is lined up specifically so that it hits another guy lined up right behind the guy that I just shot at, and gives me 2 points in one throw. There is a pause storage glitch here. If you pause and unpause right before you clear the level, it lets you move around while the pause menu is still up. And so that means that you can click back to hub and return and skip that timepiece cutscene, which saves like 6 seconds. And it's pretty simple to set up. So now this is why we got that Toilet of Doom contract. The spawn point for Toilet of Doom is actually different than the one for most other levels, where it just spawns you at the center of the forest. It's down at the village, which is closer to where we need to go to get to Vanessa's manor. So we're already on our way there now. The movement getting to the manor is much more interesting than the actual manor itself, thanks to an intended skip that takes you to the very end of the manor. I got stuck warped. That's a cool trick that I was going to show off later, but it just happened to me accidentally. It's a little soft lock prevention mechanic. So yeah, that's most of what there is to that level. Once we actually get inside the manor, which is supposed to be multiple minutes long. So yeah, this is simple enough that some people actually found this on their casual playthrough. But if you just crawl in between those two barrels there in the cellar, there's a hole that takes you straight to the end of the level. Which has been basically the only reason that we've ever been able to play this level in any %. Oh yeah, you can only walk in that area. It doesn't let you jump and dive, or dive only. It still lets you jump. It's kind of like a Luigi's Mansion-esque area. So now, real quick, we are doing the 2 Subcon time rifts and getting those out of the way. Oh yeah, and since we completed Vanessa's Manor, it gave us the act for it, so we just use it for its spawn point, which is all the way here on the bridge, which is very close to the pipe time rift, which is named pipe because it's in this pipe. So most time rifts just come down to using your movement exploits and dive boosts and stuff like that to just make whatever fast cycle you can get in the level. Most of them have a quote fast cycle that you can do just because a lot of them rely on moving objects like these. This one is not too complex though. There are a lot of backups that you can do if you make a mistake. Oh yeah, it's not really a difference in gameplay, but another thing that makes the game much faster now is that you can exit to hub out of time rifts now. You used to not be able to do that. It was due to a bug that made your game screen go completely black and not restore until you restarted the game if you tried to exit out of a time rift cutscene that plays after you beat it. But that was fixed due to a speedrunner request, actually. It's really convenient. So this is the village time rift. I'm going to be doing a triple jump here. That hasn't been shown yet. It's basically like a DSJ where you sprint jump off of a ledge and use the coyote frames, but you let go of sprint so that on the second jump you do a normal jump instead. And when you do a normal jump, you also get a double jump after, which basically accomplishes a triple jump. So that's why I call it that. My camera is being real up close and personal right now. Okay, so now coming up is toilet. This has always been a run killer. It was in the previous any percent run, but it works much differently and it is much harder. So last time, this level used to be really interesting for first-time watchers. I mean, it still is, but because the way we used to beat this boss is by changing a graphics setting while he's underground to lag him out of the level and immediately kill him on his first attack. Well, that was patched and it doesn't work anymore, so we have to send him through the ground in other means, which we have. It isn't doable until the third phase, though. So the first two phases of the fight we have to do normally, which makes this level like 50 seconds longer than it used to be. And not only is it 50 seconds longer, it's much harder to do well on top of that. So this level is definitely one of the hardest in the run as of now. Not to mention the RNG that this phase has in it. That was really good RNG though. You just want to get the cherries to spawn really near him so that you don't have to lug them around the arena like this. Okay, so now I've set myself in a specific position for this attack, where he's going to jump up into the air and then slam down and charge up a bomb. I'm going to carry him on my head. Ooh! I got stuck inside of it. Okay, I have a second attempt at this. So let me try and do that again. But basically, I want to get bounced by the lava to land right on top of that bomb. And then when he falls down onto it, I need him to land on my head, and then I can carry him off the bomb. Like that. Now, as to why I got stuck inside the cherry, don't ask me, I have no idea. But at least you get 2 attempts at it. So now we're returning to Mafia Town to do the other half of the levels that we hadn't done yet. This is either because some of them cost pawns that we didn't have at the time, like heating up Mafia Town, which cost 100, or for reasons like needing the ice hat or the hook shot, which we use in the levels here. Oh yeah, this level is vastly different from what it used to be, because ticket duping that you saw last time is now patched and doesn't work. So we have to grab all 4 of the tickets in this level, and it's really hard to do fast. But we have a very interesting route for it. Another balloon boost there. Alright. And now the last ticket is the main hard one. Because to get to it quickly, I'm going to do an ice hat slingshot again. Off of this roof right here. And get thrown way over here. Use this ice hat platform to go back to the top of the level. And now we're done. So even done optimally, this level is also like 25-30 seconds slower than it used to be. And also more difficult. So this is the sewers time rift. This is pretty much the same, but it has a decently difficult fast cycle. It's probably one of the things I have the most practice in anything in this game, though. And that's just because this is a really well-known strat and one of, like, the most played ILs in the history of the game. So at this point, it's just muscle memory. Alright, and this is one of the most movement intensive levels in this run. And it's really easy to lose a lot of time in. It also has a bunch of cool glitches in it and a completely different route than what was seen last time, which also had a bunch of completely different glitches in it. This level is just wacky. So we gotta go around various parts of the island and turn off all these faucets. So right here, I'm gonna buffer a jump on the ground. That was a 1-frame jump that's possible easily thanks to input assist, which allows you to buffer inputs. Because of that, when I get stuck and soft lock myself right there, when it tries to put me back in a safe spot, it goes, okay, where was the last spot we saw this person standing? Never saw me standing where I jumped off the roof, fortunately, because I buffered a 1-frame jump, which means that it puts me back at the spawn and allows me to go around quicker. So I'm gonna get myself soft lock on this faucet too. Go back over here. And now do an ice head slingshot for the final one. Oh, I'm almost dead. It's okay though, because we want to do an intentional death right here. To go back to the start. Because there's not really a fast way to return from that faucet. Now we just gotta go down and do the last one. Alright, and now I have another chance to show the boop and the cannon thing that I missed earlier, because this is actually the same cannon that I tried to do it in at the start of the run. But if you boot before falling into the cannon, she'll fall down and get this ledge grab state. Once you're up here, you can ledge grab and end that little trajectory a bit early. And that one's way easier to set up because you're actually like standing on top of it beforehand. Now we're just going into the time rift that level unlocks. Oh, that's scary. Grab the wall a little too early. This level has a decently difficult fast cycle. I don't know if it was gone for in the last hat run at SGDQ, but you don't have very much room for error. Get a bunch of speed off that slope and do a slanted dive boost on that floor there. Get a momentum jump off that moving platform, and then barely make this cycle at the very end. If you don't land on it when it's at the top, then you'll slip and slide off and just fall and die. Which stinks, because you lose like 8 seconds. So this is a pretty cool level to be speedrun. It's one of the most fun ILs, in my opinion. But this is a notorious speedrunning level where you're... One second. Basically forced into winning this race by using a hat that's unlocked way later on in the game called the Time Stop hat, which just slows down everything around you so that the guy that you're racing against goes painfully slow and you can just walk to the end for free. But it's also very possible to just beat him on foot using nothing but the sprint hat with pristine movement. Get a huge slanted slope dive boost there. Slide down the stairs, not even close. Yeah, you can beat him by like 3 or 4 seconds with good movement. So now we're done with Mafia Town. This is actually the door that unlocks Alpine. Unfortunately, we're not going to see Alpine in this run, even though it is like my favorite world. Because there is this other hallway down here that has some other stuff we need to go to. It has a time rift in it, as well as a manhole that unlocks, or that takes us to the brand new chapter that we're going to be doing last in Yakuza. This rift also has a really precise fast cycle, and I bonked into that wall so I can't really do it, but I can show off a backup. You do a triple jump here off that cog. That strat was patented by me. Okay, so now we have 20 timepieces, which is enough to open up this new chapter called Yakuza. So this is a Metro level. It's incredibly fast, thanks to it being free roam, which means it doesn't put you back in the spaceship after you collect a timepiece. You just resume as normal. This chapter, we get 5 timepieces in, so basically the 5 more timepieces that we need to unlock Finale. If it were to unlock earlier, we would definitely access it earlier, because the timepieces in this chapter are all like 30 seconds. It's ridiculous. When this chapter came out and saw how fast it was, when we saw how fast it was, we were amazed. Okay, so I'm going to attempt a boop clip here off this train. You'll be seeing a lot of these trains. Onto this ledge, which allows me to go out of bounds and continue following the train out of bounds past its normal route. Hit a respawn point and warp to the basically end of this little segment, and then just ride a train to the end. Okay, so next is some pretty cool out-of-bounds movement. Something about this chapter is that all the timepieces are separated into different stations of the Metro, like yellow overpass, pink paw station, green clean station. First, we're going to be doing the yellow overpass station's manhole, which is basically when you go in manholes in this chapter, they take you to little underground areas of the Metro, where there's different level's located. But I'm going to boop clip right there. Use this slope to fly on this massive box, which, fun fact, contains all of the underground manhole areas in them. And then I'm going to boop clip on the ledge and fall down to the end of the yellow manhole area. Now I'm going to return to hub and use the respawn point of that level to respawn closer to the next station that I want to go to. Oh yeah, this level is incredibly laggy on my PC because it's probably the most intensive one, or maybe just the least optimized one. But on a marathon computer it looks much smoother. That also goes for my graphics settings, by the way. So right now we're going to respawn inside the yellow manhole level that we basically just skipped, and use its spawn point to go backwards and go to somewhere else faster. If I can climb up first. Thank you. I need to get on this train, but I missed that cycle by being dumb. So now we're in the yellow overpass station area. And we can wall jump on this to get up to this train earlier and take us right to the timepiece, if I can actually touch it. Now we're going to return to hub and do that again. And that's because that spot that we just went to get the timepiece has a respawn plane in it that weirdly takes you to Pink Paw Station near the very end. And that's because Pink Paw Station is actually located right above where Yellow Overpass Station is. It's really high up, so it normally takes longer to get to. We can do a bit of an upwarp to it. But yeah, this metro is huge, and thanks to really fast tricks, you won't even be seeing most of the journey it takes to get there, like riding on these trains. Yeah, Pink Paw is way up above where we're going now. And there is a respawn point right here that takes you straight up to it. Wall jump into that bouncer, and then just run to the end where the timepiece is. That level is way, way, way longer than what it just looked like. Okay, I'm gonna attempt a hard trick just because it's cool and it saves a few seconds if I get it. And if not, it's a marathon, whatever. But Green Clean Station is the final level that we do. And it has a cool skip that you can do on it to save like 4 seconds. It looks kind of like what Bag Skip used to look like, where you had to do a precise momentum jump and land on a very tiny branch. But if I jump over here and wall climb right on there, there's a tiny little ledge that lets you not fall down and actually stand up on the top of that wall and skip straight to the end. Yeah, fast Green Clean is hype. I always debate going for it at the end of runs because I'm like 60% consistent at it, maybe even 70% consistent, and it looks really cool. So alright, well, that was our 25th timepiece. We're now doing finale. So we have to do this little mustache girl movement where she breaks into our spaceship and uses our timepieces to rewrite the world into her own kingdom. So now to get into this level, it has a little checker to make sure you've got all your hats. And in this route, we actually do, but it's still faster to jump over the gate. We could actually go through the gate normally in this route of the game, but we just skip it anyway. But yeah, in this version of the game, it doesn't actually tell us, like, hey, come on, you don't have all the hats. Because now we actually do get all the hats. You've barely seen it because it only serves one purpose, but The Dweller hat just makes Dweller walls that are specifically tied to it either go from solid to non-solid or non-solid to solid. And we rarely use it just because we basically only need it when it's intended. So, this is pretty exciting, but Finale no longer has Finale skip. The reason I say that's exciting, as cool as skipping the level is, the Finale skip is kind of just holding forward for like 2 minutes and hoping you don't fall off. And it only saves like 10-15 seconds. Whereas the current route now requires you to go through the whole level, which is incredibly intense movement, and with low HP at that, because you have to do a death abuse strat at the end, or at least it's faster to attempt the death abuse strat. So this is going to be a bit of a hype segment. Like I said, Finale movement has become so optimized that it's only like 10-15 seconds slower than skipping it entirely. But it is very difficult to do optimally. Little fight skip right there by just climbing up on that wall. Bruh. Okay, so I took my last intentional damage there. You have to take 3 throughout the level. And now we just have to run to the end, hoping that we don't hit any fire or anything like that. Cool little hammer slide here. Get some speed and do a big dive boost. And that is a pretty decent finale. Alright, now the reason we put ourselves down to 1 health is because there's a cutscene skip that we do here if we get lucky. So on the final attack of this phase, which is her 5th hit, she has 1 more. I got the RNG. Okay, so if she does the punch on her 5th attack, you can do a death warp. And instantly spawn yourself in the boss fight. Which, normally when you play that level, after you defeat that phase, she puts you into a little void cutscene for like 13 seconds where she basically uses a bunch of timepieces to make this rainbow arena. But you just respawn immediately in the fight instead and save like 13 seconds. Oh my gosh, can you stop hitting me? The reason I'm taking damage is because there's a really funny bug in this patch of the game, where if you're charging a brewer potion, her laser will hit you no matter where you're standing. The hitbox just becomes the size of the entire map. And if you can see the volume for it, it's really funny. Yeah, I say funny, but it actually annoys a lot of runners, because it just makes you take damage anytime you want to throw a potion at her while she's charging a laser. Oh look, she's in the floor. Glad she did that now instead of when it actually mattered. This fight is really buggy. Did I mention that? Sometimes you can just fall out of the map and instantly kill your run. So this has a lot of RNG, just because she can either decide to shield herself or not shield herself anytime she does an attack in this phase. Like that. At least I got a double hit in. You can throw a brewing potion at her, and then homing attackers that after the brewing potion hits, you're still homing attacking her, and then you can immediately start her next attack. Unless if she teleports away. That was actually good RNG. That was really good RNG. So this is paced to be 38. It's around a minute off my PB, and a pretty solid time to get in a no reset. We just gotta mash through this little cutscene. I got a 3 cherry. Which is good RNG. Especially because I got double hits. Getting double hits is pretty important. Okay, so this final phase has 8 hits, and she just does 2 cycles of the same 4 attacks, and we just have to track what order she's doing them in, so that we can track when to do a double hit, like there. So now she's starting over her attack cycle. Now she has 1 timepiece attack left. And then she should punch one more time. Whoops. Actually choked 38. Because I did so bad in that final phase. But this is about to be time, grabbing this timepiece right here. And time. So that was a hat in time any percent. At least it was sub 50 RTA, which I guess is a good time to mention. That is a lot over my estimate. But I would like to note that my computer's RTA times compared to a marathon computer, or just say a good computer, is that my computer loses probably 6 or 7 minutes, maybe more, to loading time. I can reset my splits and show here. If I turn my splits on the left to real time, my RTA time on my PB is 47 minutes. Now, Enhu, who is the runner that I'm submitting this as a race with, has a PB within 20 seconds of mine, yet his RTA time is a mid-42? Mid-43, I think? So yeah, like almost 5 minutes, actually. So if you take 5 minutes away from that dumb run, that was still like a 44:58 RTA, ideally on a marathon computer. Just in case it looks scary that I was above the 47 RTA mark, if I were, you know, to make it 50, I would just smash it on a GDQ computer, and I want it to be a little bit more accurate. But yeah, 47 is, like I said, 10 minutes off of the estimate from last run. You know, we can always ask the crowd if they want to help Mustache Girl or not. I'm just going to go ahead and help her. Just because at SGDQ, they told me to not help her. And then you just got the rest of this cutscene to sit through. I don't know that we have, like, a glitch showcase or anything that we could show off after the run was finished. We kind of did that last time, but I don't really have any ideas for that at the moment, so... Yeah, thank you for watching my submission. Like I said, this should be submitted as a race with Enhu. His PB is less than 20 seconds faster than mine, and that might even change soon if I do more runs, so I would consider it pretty exciting to have. And I hope you consider the submission for AGDQ 2020. The run is completely different, and it's been a while since it's had a spot on a GDQ. I'll continue submitting it until I get my chance, so thanks for watching.